So today was the semi-final and final of the British Bouldering Championships.
Wait, you know, I literally had a dream that I didn't forget my eyebrow pencil. I opened my wash bag and there my eyebrow pencil was, and I was so happy.
As you can see, it was an early start for me. If you watched my last vlog, you'll know I did go to bed early though, so it wasn't too bad to get up for. Had my porridge and then we headed to the venue on the tube. Isolation was fine. I think I was in there for about 3 hours, but nothing too crazy. So unlike the qualification round, you don't get a preview for the semi-finals round. So when I came out here, this was my first time seeing the boulder. I was kind of confused a little about this one because there wasn't many holds on it and it looked like the climb would have to use the corner a lot. So on my first go, I just took it slow and used kind of static beta to do this first move. Once I was on this hold, I was actually pretty confused about how to get to the next one because it was really far away and I didn't seem to see any obvious movement. But then I kind of realized, okay, so I probably need to end up pushing right with my right hand and then pushing down with my left hand. So that is what I tried. I don't think my first attempt was too bad actually, but not close enough. On my next go, I did the same beta for the start, but then I just somehow forgot what I did and took ages to figure out this middle section. Yeah, foot slip. Basically, this attempt was a lot worse. Even though I'd figured out the beta on my first go, I was then just really hesitant and confused. My resting was pretty good though, that's one thing I'm proud of in comps, is that I generally take the time that I need between attempts. And it's interesting actually because I have seen other people on this boulder now, and some people jump the start move, but when I was climbing it, I never even considered that as an option. I just opted for the static version. I was really trying to find a solution, but it was not going well. High feet is kind of my go-to and it was pretty pointless. And then on my fifth and final go, I reverted to the way that I tried on my first go, which honestly was the best way and I wish I'd tried it for longer, but hang on. And then I headed back to call zone before boulder 2. You'll see I've had an outfit change here for boulder 2. That is because I realised that it was really hot out there, so I changed it into my vest top. I don't know why, but I always just assume that competitions in January and February are going to be cold, but when you actually get out to compete, half the time it's boiling, so I wish I wore shorts for this round. But saying that, on this boulder, I'm glad that I have my leggings on. This was my favourite boulder of the round because I love weird things, so when I came out and saw 2 sticky outy volumes, I was psyched. I found the move out to this second one quite physical and challenging. I wasn't sure if I should go left hand or right hand, but I made the decision to do right hand and then match. And then work my way up onto this volume. And when I say worked my way up, I mean worked my way up. Yeah, this was a lot of effort. And you might be thinking, Louise, why are you still on this volume? The boulder goes the other way. And honestly, I'm asking myself the same question right now. I was sat on this boulder for 1 minute and 42 seconds. Bro, what was I thinking? Ah. Finally, I figured out that if I could use the arete, stand up a bit, I could then get out of this volume position and stand up fully, so that's what I did. The left foothold was actually pretty bad. It was a dual text, tiny foothold, and it was kind of turned the bad direction. But considering it was the British Championships semi-final, it was an okay foothold. I then tried to stand up with my right hand into the last hold, and I think that's where I went wrong. Izzy Bridges, who did the boulder, stood up left hand, I believe, and then found a really nice right toe hook, and then managed to go to the top much more statically. I had another few goes on this boulder, but I was really tired and couldn't get back to where I'd been before, which was a shame. Moving on to boulder 3, when I came out to this one, I definitely felt scared because this was on the steepest part of the wall and had some very bad holds. Another sign that it was going to be difficult was that the last 3 holes had literally no chalk on them, which, you know, is never very assuring. So on this one I thought, right, I'll have to unleash my classic steep boulder tactics, which are, if I'm making any progress, maximum 3 attempts on the boulder, because I know that I need roughly minimum 90 seconds rest between attempts. Unfortunately, I was only doing like 1 or 2 moves at a time, so I could have a few more attempts than that. But I did definitely still prioritize resting over trying different ways, because I don't think the issue here was my beta, it was definitely my strength. You can see the way that my shoulders just drop out. Yeah, it looks like I'm doing a board climb that's a bit too hard for me. This was one of the hardest boulders in the round, and yeah, I made no progress, so let's not dwell on it too much. And finally, it was time to come out for boulder 4. When I came out here, I could see immediately that it was going to be a big jump, and I thought, oh, I could land in the corner, but then I noticed there was the black tape. So the black tape, for those of you who don't know, means that you're not allowed to use that section of wall. I did also see the no-tex hold when I came out, and I was really glad that that was just a blocker, because I do not like no-tex holds. The start was slightly difficult, but not too bad. I sometimes struggle with coordination dynos, but this one wasn't too complex, so I managed to stick it first go. And then classic me decided to get a heel to hand to the next bit. I do think it was a bit unnecessary, but if it helps, it helps. This lâcher confused me so much. I did not understand how to generate the swing at all. It felt like I needed to generate the swing towards the finish hold, but I couldn't work out what position my hands needed to be in to be able to generate the swing. I was trying to use the left foothold to help go the right direction, but that didn't seem to be working. I then tried to turn around and see if I could swing that way, which, at least I tried different things, I guess, but at the same time, that was absolutely awful, so. I do want to give a shout out to 2 people on this boulder though, because it's going to be pretty boring to watch me fall off it for 5 minutes. Iggy Rinaldi, one of the smallest climbers in the fields, did this so well, and she actually had to stick the lâcher move 3 times because she kept dropping the top. And then Zoe Petermans came out and flashed this boulder in the nicest way possible, which was super impressive to see. So that was the end of my round. You know, classic me, got pulled from media straight away, had a wee chat with George about the round. After the round, I basically knew that I wouldn't be in finals, but it turned out it was actually way closer than I thought. It was 1 zone difference. But I was definitely disappointed with aspects of my performance, even though it wasn't that bad, but I'm a comp climber through and through. Every time I don't do a boulder, I'm gonna regret not doing it and think about everything that I could have done to do it. I didn't want to just leave the finals boulders out and ignore them, so let's walk through what they were and what my thoughts were on them. So boulder 1 for both the men and the women was a kind of vertical slab, and the women had this no text step through boulder, which actually looked so scary. Once you got through the no text feet bit, you then had to move into the corner and do a really technical top section, which most of the girls did achieve, but it definitely looked challenging. It was a very push reliant boulder. The boys had this technical slab, which had this really strange coordination move that also involved pushing, but you had to push and kind of jump into the corner. Great camera work from the BMC of Luca on this one. Yeah, but at least we know it was a bad foothold. And then for the top, they also had to deal with dual tech. So these were kind of different boulders, but if you think about the muscle groups and what they actually challenged of the athletes, it was pretty similar. Women's 2 was this yellow power boulder, which looked like probably the second most physical block in the round. It basically involved squirming around this corner and then standing up into the top hold, which also looked like a challenge, but really nothing too complicated here, just a lot of compression. And here's Lucy getting the top. For the men, they had a power boulder as well, and this one I actually really liked. It involved the toe hook catch first move, and then a very difficult top section, which we saw most of the climbers struggle with. This purple volume bit, Hamish cruised through, but so many of the athletes just slid off that hold. There was also just no footholds for the athletes, and they just all powered out. This block was the most challenging for the men, and it saw no tops throughout the round. Women's 3 was the most physical boulder, and it involved a difficult press move where you then had to kind of swing about on one shoulder, which honestly, yeah, I was glad I didn't have to try that one. And then another powerful section at the top. One thing we have seen more recently in GB climbing competitions as well as international competitions is an increase in power boulders for the women, and I think it's really cool that now the women are not just being challenged on their technical abilities, they're also being challenged on the strength. And then men's 3, this was probably my most favourite boulder of the round. The campus start looked cool but didn't really challenge too many athletes. And then you had to do this really weird lache into the corner and then finish low down. And I don't think we've seen a low down finish, at least in a British national, ever. Could be a lie that, but I really liked the creativity that the route setters took with this boulder. And we also saw a few different athletes finish it in a few different ways, which is always cool. Great for the photos too. And the final women's boulder was this coordination block, which involved a simple jump for the first move and then a very complex coordination paddle to top. And this was actually probably one of my least favorite boulders of the round. Like, it is cool, but also now we have seen a lot of paddle dynos, and when people do them, it just looks really easy. And like, yeah, that's cool, but also I found the men's set overall much more interesting to watch. And the men, on the other hand, finished with this power boulder. Max had a tough round, but he did manage to redeem himself on this one, which was absolutely amazing to see. The top move was the crux for most athletes, which involved a really hard press. Max made it look so easy. He went a bit slower than the other boys and really locked out his right arm before pressing up into that top hold. Really cool to see. So overall, I think the route setters did a really good job with the finals boulders. They got good separation in both the men's and the women's. The women's was probably slightly easy, but the blocks were entertaining to watch and they did separate the athletes. So really, that's all you could want. I hope you've enjoyed these vlogs and me giving you an insight into the British Bouldering Championships. If you haven't already seen part 1, then go ahead and watch that now, because that follows the qualification round and like pre-comp prep. And as always, thank you for watching, and do remember to subscribe.